I've gone over to cardiac wing meetings. I think I have it under control. Working on the report for the staff requirements now. Listen, Rick, before we get into all that, I've been very concerned about my father since he had his last seizure. I'd really appreciate it if you could examine him. Fine. When? Well, I don't have my schedule. I'll have Kay call and make the time that's convenient to both of us. Are you saying it might be quite a while before you can fit him in? No, Alan, I'm saying that until I do get to see him, you have a fine cardiologist and Dr. Cunningham. He'll see. I don't want Dr. Cunningham, Rick. Monica and I both chose you as my father's cardiologist because we think you're the best. And for that very same reason, I thought you were the best man to head the cardiac wing. Well, maybe we better get out of the cardiac wing business before you change your mind. Something wrong, Rick. Look, I know you've canceled the last few days' surgery and you're turning over a lot of your patients to Dr. Cunningham, including my father. So I was just... Alan, Dr. Steve Hardy happens to be chief of staff at this hospital. He has approved my surgery schedule changes. Now, my patients are mine. If I want to turn them over to somebody else, that's my business. I don't want you throwing your money or your influence around here. Edward Quartermain, I don't care what his last name is, but he's a patient just like anybody else.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were alone. Hi, Ellen.
That's it. I'll talk to you about the wing later on, Rick. Believe me, I wasn't asking you any special favors or trying to put any pressure on you at all. Sorry I blew up like that.
Ellen, before you go, your mother called me a little while ago to tell me you'd finally set the date for Gail and me's party, and I told her, of course, we would be there.
Good. I'll talk to you later, Rick. What is all this about accepting an invitation?
Please, before we talk about that, I want to apologize to you for storming out of the house the way I did this morning. I never liked it when you did it to me, and so I feel doubly.
That's fine. I understand. Thank you. Now, what about the invitation?
Well, you heard what I said to Alan, the engagement party.
Yeah, well, I heard it. I can't quite believe it. I think you would at least ask me.
Well, I felt sure that you would, of course, want to go, since they're such good friends of ours.
Well, Lesley, I think you would ask me. What are you doing, arranging all our social schedule now? Hey, what does this fall under, the heading of keeping up appearances?
I don't know why you're so angry at me.
I'm angry because for weeks all I've been hearing is separate bedrooms, separate this, separate that. Now you want me to forget it? You want me to go to a party, put a smile on my face, and try to pretend that everything is fine. Then I come back home to my separate bedroom.
Rick, it isn't that important. It's just an invitation to a party.
It's important to me, Lesley. Because it's about the most dishonest thing I can think of doing. Now, I may be a lot of things on your list. Hypocrite is not one of them. Now, I have to seek her. Excuse me, please. Yes?
Well, what's the matter?
Nothing. Why?
Oh, well, you're just looking at this rather oddly.
I'm sorry. I was just surprised to see you both here when I came in.
Well, Scotty was waiting for Lee. He's being examined by Dr. Lombard, and I told him he could wait and get here.
Oh, that's fine. You don't need to give me an explanation.
Well, what are you doing here? I mean, I thought you were scheduled to have a meeting with Rick.
Well, I was, but the meeting ended rather abruptly.
Well, listen, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go find Lee and see if Dr. Lombard is through with him.
Okay, we'll see you, Scotty. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Talk to you later, Scotty. Oh, what's wrong? I mean, you seem terribly worried about something.
I am. I didn't want to get into it in front of Scotty.
Get into what?
Something Rick said confused and upset me a little bit. A lot, actually.
Well, what did he say?
Before we started our meeting, I happened to mention very casually to him that I wanted him to examine Dad just as soon as he had a chance. Well, he got very indignant and very upset.
Why?
I haven't the faintest idea. But there was open hostility there, Monica. He practically accused me of asking for special treatment for Dad. I tell you, it was the strangest reaction I'd ever seen, so I thought it was absolutely pointless to go on with the meeting now.
So what, you just canceled it?
No, luckily Lesley came in, so I just left. Can you imagine that kind of reaction from Rick? I mean, it was a simple request about Dad.
Well, yes. I mean, it does seem a little strange, the way you tell it.
Monica, I'm telling it the way it was.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you are. And And Rick has been acting a little strange lately, but, well, I'm sure you can't take it as anything personal.
Well, how can I help it? Obviously, that reaction resulted from something much deeper that's bothering him. I mean, I don't believe for 1 minute that he thought that I was asking for preferential treatment for my father. But, you know, it's his attitude that really bothers me. I mean, he couldn't have cared less about talking about the cardiac wing, and he's going to be heading that wing up in a couple of months' time, Monica. And that, my dear girl, is serious.
I know it is, Alan, but you got to give him time. I mean, this is probably residual exhaustion from the weeks in quarantine.
Oh, Monica, please, not that again. There's got to be more to it than that. I mean, there was a definite undertone in the way he talked to me. Almost as if he resented me for something. But what?
Yeah, Alan, now that's foolish. You know better than that.
All right, maybe it is. I don't know how... What other way do you characterize it, Monica? I mean, the man was uncomfortable and edgy from the moment I walked in there. What possible reason could Rick have to react to me that way?
Yeah, the surgery was very successful, but, Rick, why did you turn it over to Cunningham? Well, no, all I heard was that you went home, you weren't feeling well. I mean, what's wrong? Look, Rick, hey, you have helped me through some pretty rough times in my life. I would like to repay the favor, and... Rick? Rick?
Bobby, will you see the cardiology get that?
Sure, Jeff.
Jeff?
Hi, Monica.
Listen, I am really worried about Rick. He's canceled surgery again today, and I just called the house, and, I don't know, he was talking very strangely. He just hung up on me. You think you could go over and see if he's all right?
Oh, yeah, I guess I could.
I mean, I'd go myself. I don't know, I think it would be better if you went.
Yeah, well, I haven't had my break yet. Tell you what, I'll go up there and ask permission from Steve.
Great. Would you call me here and when you find out anything?
Yeah, I'll get over there right away.
Thanks.
You going up?
Yeah.
Hello, Rick. What are you doing here?
I came to see you.
Why?
I wanted to see how you were. Monica asked me to stop over. She's very worried about you, Rick.
Ray, you really think that's going to help? You think I'm trying to drown my sorrows in wine? You're wrong. Straight whiskey does that. Wine just kind of clouds them.
Not if you drink enough of it.
I don't want to lecture. I'll do things on my own, all right?
Look, Dr. Weber, nobody knows better than I do what you're going through right now.
It's a little different for you.
No, not really. You know, I'm still trying to fight my way out of it. And from my own personal experience, let me tell you something, Dr. Weber. While you're fighting, you cannot afford to let your career and everything you've worked so hard for go right down the drain.
I will try to remember that, and if it happens, I won't blame you.
Look, that's not good enough, friend. I'm sorry.
I said I didn't want to lecture.
I am not lecturing you. I'm trying to warn you the same way you were trying to warn me every time you see me headed for some trouble.
I'm not headed for it, Jeff. I think I'm in it up to my neck.
All right, then let what I am saying to you sink in, will you? Rick, you can't go on canceling patients or turning them over to other doctors without serious repercussions. For heaven's sake, you're going to take over that new cardiac wing this summer. Do you really want to jeopardize that?
I know I don't care about anything.
Yeah, well, that is right now. Rick, don't throw away the future because of what you're feeling now. I mean, aren't you the one who told me that you could leave your personal feelings outside the hospital and pick them up when you were done working?
Well, I was wrong. I can't do it now. You say you want me to stop canceling patients? That's fine. Then tell me, how do I operate with that? Hmm?
I finished my Rick. These are complications.
Well, that's
That's a blessing. Rick's very lucky to have you as a backup, Monica.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. Rick's the most dedicated doctor I know. He's helped me out so many times I can't tell you. So it's right for me to reciprocate occasionally. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Hi, Steve. Monica, how are you?
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Dan. Dan, have you finished those cost accounting reports for me yet?
No, Alan, I haven't.
Look, Dan, I hate to press you, but I've got to get that stuff sent off to the hardware report so that the members can have a look at the figures before they come down for the meeting next week.
Oh, I appreciate that, Alan. But I can't finish it until I get the reports from Rick on the staff and equipment estimates. I don't have those yet.
Seems that everybody in the hospital's waiting on Rick today.
Well, Alan, you know, people do get sick, even doctors. And Rick wouldn't have left unless well, he felt it was absolutely necessary.
I know. Just happens to be it's a very unfortunate time.
You mean because of your meeting coming up with the Hardwick people next week?
Yes, Steve, that's right. Look, I'd like to talk to you about that, if I may, just for a minute, particularly where Rick is concerned.
Yes, of course. Why don't we go to the lounge? It'll be more private there.
Thanks. Excuse us, will you? Look, I'm a little bit concerned about Rick at the moment. The work with him.
Look, Dan, you know, Rick isn't going to let us down. I mean, well, his record is impeccable here. He's never missed surgery unless it's an absolute emergency.
I'm not questioning Rick's performance for 1 minute, Monica. If he's not feeling well, that's emergency enough.
Yes, of course it is.
Look, I'd like to just... Why don't you go back to the hospital before they wonder what happened to you?
Listen, don't worry about me. I got official permission to come over here, and I'm not leaving with you in that condition.
I appreciate the thought, but no amount of talk is going to do any good. I got to sort this thing out myself first.
All I can tell you is from my own experience. That it would have been a whole lot easier for me if I'd come to you and talked to you about it, instead of trying to handle it myself.
You talked to Terry?
Oh, yeah. And she helped a lot. Because except for Audrey and her niece, I had no one else to talk to.
Ann Logan knows about this?
Yes, Ann Logan knows.
Well, I wonder how many other people know about the skeletons rattling around in the Weber closet all these years.
Rick, come on, don't get upset about it. Ann and Heather are the only other ones that know about it, and I had to tell Heather because she was starting to take it personally.
Well, how about Steve and Audrey? They have to know too, right? That Mom would put that secret all those years. Dad must have never guessed. What do you think about that?
I don't know, Rick. I don't know. Maybe he knew. Your phone's off the hook. Did you know that?
Yeah, I took it off the hook.
Rick, don't you suppose the hospital may have tried to get a hold of you for an emergency or something?
Jeff, I'm in no condition to cope with any kind of emergency except what I'm going through myself right now. It's ironic, isn't it?
What?
Here we are in this room, surrounded by the keepsakes, the memos, the Weber family. The Weber boys, most likely to succeed from the ideal American family. What a laugh, what a lie.
Now, Rick, will you just stop it? That kind of thinking is not going to help, and you know it.
But what is going to help? I don't have any dreams anymore. My dreams were all based on a lie. Like everything else, that's all shattered now.
Rick, I think you're overlooking all the things that were real and the things that you accomplished and achieved. Those are not lies. They're very real.
Like what?
Like your marriage to Lesley, for instance.
Jeff, I don't really have a marriage to Lesley anymore. Did you know that? Lesley and I, Monica, and I was attracted to her. I haven't had a marriage. She wanted separate bedrooms, and all we've really been doing is just keeping up appearances. I mean, it's been a marriage in name only, that's all. Another sham being acted out in the same house.
Rick, I'm sorry. I didn't know things were so bad between you and Les.